Hello there, welcome back to the booth here in Brussels. Marshall Sutcliffe, I've got Ian Duke with me, and it's time for the second quarterfinal match here from Pro Tour. Dragons of Tarkir. Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Dragons of Tarkir. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Ian Duke, and we are underway in our second quarterfinal match between Martin Daaaaaaang from Denmark. You get a look at Martin there. He is playing red aggro against Marco Cammilluzzi of Italy playing Abzan. Break this thing down for us, Ian. How does it break down?
Yeah, so both players playing slight twists on their archetypes here. Martin Daaaaang's red aggro deck. It's like the mono red archetype, but of course it's not actually mono red.
He's got a little green in there.
He's got a little green in there, and that's for a Tarka's command and become immense. So we're going to see him with a more token-based version of the red deck, trying to go a little bit wider. He's got some goblin synergies in there. And then a Tarka's command, you know, being the powerful punch that leverages the tokens very well.
All right, so a quick start as we'll get used to seeing here for Martin Daaaaaaang. In fact, very quick.
Wow.
3 creatures on turn 2, and all of them attacking.
Attacking for 5.
5 damage here for Martin Daaaaaaang. Foundry Street Denizen gets 2 triggers, and of course the Monastery Swiftspears have haste themselves, so a huge start here for Martin Daaaaaaang. Remember, he's going to be on the play as the higher seed.
So Cammilluzzi, on the other hand, playing a version of Abzan control that's notably missing Sylvan Caryatid, as Randy mentioned back at the desk. That's going to be one of the huge factors in this matchup.
He's firing off a Thoughtseize, but this is unhappy for him here. He's going to take Draconic Roar, but leave a Wild Slash and a Stoke the Flames in hand for Martin Daaaaaaang. So Martin ready to roll here. Finds a mountain off the top.
Just a small correction, that's actually a Dragon Fodder that was taken by the
Oh, excuse me.
There.
Thank you, Ian. Sorry, I thought it was a Draconic Roar. Dragon Fodder is what is taken. So that would have been a pretty nice turn 3 play there for Martin, triggering both of his Swiftspears and 2 triggers on his Foundry Street Denizen. So you can see why Cammilluzzi prioritized the fodder there.
So Daaaaaaang deploying a Wild Slash main phase here to pump up his Monastery Swiftspears with their prowess, effectively getting in 4 damage with that Wild Slash. And Cammilluzzi already down to 6 life.
This could be very quick, Ian.
Yeah.
This one's almost done. Remember, Martin Daaaaaaang still has that Stoke the Flames in his hand.
That's right. So Cammilluzzi had effective, well, I was going to say had an effective 2, now had an effective, I guess, 4, taking away the Stoke the Flames, but the creatures are going to come crashing in here, so if Daaaaaaang were to come up with just about anything there, that would be game.
Yeah, any red creature there would have done it. As it stands, it's effectively game. Cammilluzzi falls down to 1. He does find a land that lets him cast a Siege Rhino here, though. That fetch land wasn't going to get it done. But he finds a forest and jumps back up to 4. Still feels like dire straits here for Cammilluzzi.
Is that a lightning strike off the top?
I think it was. We couldn't quite see. Yeah, it must have been a lightning strike, and that's going to do it. Martin Daaaaaaang picks up the first game in short order.
Yeah, whirlwind of a first game there.
Holy smokes.
So I was chatting with Martin Daaaaaaang a little bit backstage. And he definitely thinks he has the upper hand in this matchup.
All right, we'll be back right after these messages.
The new Magic Online only Tempest Remastered set combines the best of Tempest, Stronghold, and Exodus into a brand new draft experience with events beginning May 6th. Sign up for Magic Online at mtgo.com. Make Magic history by joining in on the biggest Magic Premier Play weekend ever, featuring events in Chiba, Utrecht, and Las Vegas. Pre-register now at magic.wizards.com/Modern Masters Weekend.
And welcome back to the feature match area here in Brussels. Let's get a quick word with our competitors about what their sideboard plan was coming into this matchup.
All right, I'm here with Martin Daaaaaaang. Martin, talk to me about what you're going to do after game 1 in this matchup. How are you going to sideboard?
Yes, actually it depends whether or not I win, because I had a sideboard plan if I'm on the draw and a different side plan if I'm on the play.
Okay.
So, regardless of which, I'm going to sideboard 2 of these in. These 4, which are really good in this matchup, and also this guy, which I really like. On the draw, I will take in only 2 of these.
Okay.
And that's the difference between my play and draw sideboard, because on the play, I will brought all 4 of these in. So that would be a total of 11 cards on the play
Wow.
and only 9 cards on the draw.
How do you make room for all those cards? What do you take out?
Yes, well, I have some cards that are not so good in that matchup. For example, Wild Slash. I'm gonna board 4 of those out. And then I'll board out some Hordling Outburst. I'm gonna board three Hordling Outbursts and my Frenzied Goblin, and also a Lightning Strike and 2 Goblin Fodder.
Okay. Thank you, Martin Dang. Good luck the rest of the way in the quarterfinals.
Yes, thank you.
All right, I'm here with Marco Cammilluzzi. Marco, I know the red deck can give nightmares to almost any player. What do you have to do after sideboard to shore up your matchup here?
No, I told you, the first game is really hard because I'm on the draw. You know, if I'm on the play, it's fine. So after game 1, I need to add 10 cards.
10?
Yeah, really 10 cards.
Okay.
For try to beat him. So first of all, I need to add the 3rd Bowblight because I'm playing 2 main deck. That is amazing. Again, tokens, okay? Then I need to add 3 Drawing Sorrow. You know, because if I play turn 1 spell, turn 2 spell, turn 3 tokens, I need to kill them all with Java spell, you know. The 3 Freeman's Lion, you know, because I need to make a turn 2 drop. It's fine if it's a removal, but it's also okay, it's a big 3/3 that it's like a combo with Drawing Sorrow, you know, turn 2 3/3, turn 3 Drawing Sorrow, clean the board, and start to attack. The last 2 cards are Duress. Yeah, because he has a lot of spells, you know. There are or just bar spell or token spells, so it's really good, and he can protect me from Atarka command. That, you know, it's like a Skullcrack for my Rhino, so it's pretty annoying, you know. And from the main deck, I need to leave 4 Toad Seeds because you know, I can lose life. You know, it's easy. It's just one reason, you know. Ugin and Liliana Vess, you know, because there are stones, you know, there are 5 drop, 8 drop is not just good, and Abzan Charm, I can lose life, and also they have he has just most creatures, so. It's just, they do nothing. It do nothing, so.
Okay, sounds like a big plan for game 2.
Yeah.
Marco, good luck the rest of the way in the quarterfinals.
I need.
You heard Marco say, I need it, after BDM wished him good luck there. How much luck does he need here, Ian?
A fair amount, but I think the matchup gets a lot better for him after game 1. Game 1, of course, his deck's not well set up against aggro in the main deck, but also being on the draw there. Now that he's on the play, and now that he brings in, as we saw, 10 cards, I think he said, he's going to be in a lot better shape.
Yeah, 10 cards coming in here for Marco Cammilluzzi, who, well, he got ran over in the first game. That was fast.
And I was talking before about how Martin Dang mentioned he thinks this is a favorable matchup for him. Part of why he thought it was favorable was factoring in that he was on the play in game 1 and that Cammilluzzi's main deck configuration was not well suited against him. So things sort of went according to plan for Martin Dang there in game 1, but I think he acknowledges that things get a little bit worse for him in games 2 and 3.
Looks like the sideboarding has been done, and we're just finishing up our shuffles before presenting decks here to get underway in game 2 of our second quarterfinal. We'll be bringing you coverage of the following 2 quarterfinals after this, and then, of course, the semis leading up to the big best-of-5 final later on today. Players are playing for a heck of a lot of money. First place is $40,000 here at the Pro Tour. Second place is $20,000. The players that have made top 8 have already secured 10 each. Not a bad payday. Playing a few games of Magic.
So if we think about what Cammilluzzi wants to begin with in his opening hand, he definitely wants cheap cards to get on the board early. Drown in Sorrow and Bile Blight are going to be the cards that he's looking for the most, just as cheap early removal spells that can catch him up from an onboard deficit. Wildland Lion, Fleecemane Lion, a great blocker as well, just shutting down those early token rushes.
How aggressively is Marco going to be mulliganing to try to get to those key spells?
Fairly aggressively. I mean, if he were to start with a hand that didn't have anything to do before turn 3, I think he would already strongly consider mulliganing that. If he's awkward on mana at all, like if he doesn't have double black for Bile Blight or Drown in Sorrow, he's already starting to think about mulliganing. In addition to just looking for a well-balanced hand that has a mix of lands and spells.
Okay, well, he's opened up here his opening hand, and it kind of looks like he has the hand that you just described where he's not doing a whole lot before turn 3 here. He is on the play this game. And you know what? He's going to send that one back in. Martin Dang's going to take a look at his opening 7 here and see if he's got a keeper. His deck is generally quite consistent. With such a low mana curve and effectively just being a one-color deck in most scenarios.
Yeah, that looks like a great opening hand.
Yeah, he can deploy his game plan pretty consistently.
Looks like Mountain, Temple of Abandon, Zergo, Lightning Strike, Dragon Fodder, and one other spell. So.
Oh, the hat's been turned backwards here for Marco. It might be rally time.
Oh, yeah. Serious business. So one interesting thing I saw in Cammilluzzi's previous hand was I wasn't sure when I first saw it. It looked like he had a race in his opening hand, and I was thinking to myself,
see that too.
Why would he have a race against a mono red deck? The answer is he's anticipating Eidolon of the Great Revel coming in. I believe that's the only enchantment that Martin Dang would have access to.
We heard Marco talk about his sideboard plan. He's got some dead cards in his main deck.
He does.
You know, he was talking about Abzan Charm being particularly painful.
Yep, and Thoughtseize. Yeah, there's the classic swap of Thoughtseize for Duress against a red deck. This is something we've seen, time and time again in multiple formats. So Cammilluzzi really looking for a nice 6-card opening hand, probably 2 or 3 lands, a Bile Blight, a Drown in Sorrow. But Martin Dang's hand is looking pretty good, and depending on how he plays it, fairly resilient to something like Bile Blight.
All right, let's see if Marco finds a keeper here.
He's got
this
2
looks
lands.
much better.
Yeah,
There's
got
a
the
Duress.
erase. Looks like a Duress, yeah.
But he's going to kick things off with a tap land here, I believe is a Temple of Silence. And there's a Zergo Bellstriker for Martin Dang.
Yeah, just a beautiful opening hand for Dang there. Great mix of lands and spells. Good curve.
Wow, that is a beaut. Marco Cammilluzzi is going to fire off that Duress, and you can see his eyebrows kind of go up when he looks at the hand of Martin Dang. How am I going to beat this? He's got a Drown in Sorrow in his hand.
So I think he probably just takes the Stoke the Flames. He's not going to be able to win the game quickly. He just wants to, I guess, mitigate the amount of damage he'd take over a longer game. Yeah, looks like he does take away the Stoke.
All right, so Stoke the Flames hits the bin. Leaves Dang with Dragon Fodder, Lightning Strike, and a Swift Spear to go along with the lands.
If he had a Fleece Mane Lion, he'd take the Lightning Strike there. He doesn't, unfortunately.
And does nothing else for the turn outside of playing a land.
But it does look like Cammilluzzi picked up a copy of Drown in Sorrow.
He did.
Which is huge here.
Does he have a second black mana source
I
available?
don't think he does. I think he's going to need to top deck one.
Whew. So Zergo Bellstriker crashes in for a pair of damage. First blood here for Martin Dang.
Down comes Dragon Fodder.
And Dragon Fodder is going to put out a decent board state here for Dang to keep applying pressure.
So let's take a look at Cammilluzzi's hand. So what he really wants to see here is a 3rd land. He's happy with any untapped land. It'll either let him play Courser of Crucifix or Drown in Sorrow. Unfortunately, his only other cheap play is Erase, which isn't matching up well against Martin Dang's draw here. with no Eidolon on his side of the table.
So real early in game 2, but this is a massive draw step for Cammilluzzi, who needs to find either a untapped black or green mana source here.
This draw step could very well decide the game.
And he finds
Ultimate Price.
Ultimate Price. So
which
it is
decent.
a spell. Yeah, he can take out Zergo Bellstriker with that. Maybe not as good as a Swamp, but certainly better than many of his draws.
Yeah, I mean, if Daang starts to flood out a little bit and Cammilluzzi can take out the Zergo here and then buy a little bit of time to draw into Drown in Sorrow, that is an avenue for him to win the game.
And there's that Monastery Swift Spear. Everybody into the red zone. 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. And Marco's going to have to decide what he wants to kill here with his Ultimate Price.
Yeah,
He's
the
got
two
two
options
choices.
are Zergo or Monastery Swift Spear. Now, killing Zergo just reduces the amount of upfront damage. The reason you'd consider the Swift Spear is that it could potentially live through Drown in Sorrow with a spell prowess pumping it up.
I think that was a Tassiger off the top for Marco. He doesn't have quite enough cards in the yard to do that either, and this game could be slipping away from him very quickly. Lightning Strike your head. That's 5, 6, 7 damage, dropping Cammilluzzi down to 9. This could be his last draw step to try to find a land, and he does.
He does, wow.
Caves of Koilos, untapped black mana source. He does take 1 to go to 6 to cast this, but he gets to play Drown in Sorrow, sweeping away the board here.
Okay.
We might have a game.
There is a chance. However, I see in Martin Daang's hand, it looks like he picked up a copy of Goblin Rabblemaster, which is the perfect follow-up.
He scribed that to the top the previous turn. So the hits keep coming here for Martin Daang. Bang, down to 5 for Marco Cammilluzzi, who has found another land. Now, does this give him Siege Rhino?
It does. It does give him Siege Rhino. He'll go down to 4, then up to 7.
Wow, so he is just barely hanging in there.
So Siege Rhino would bring Cammilluzzi
Man, look
up
at
to
Martin
7, I believe.
Look at Martin Daang's hand. Look at the bottom card. That's not a typo.
Uh-oh.
Become immense here for Martin Daang. I think it's just going to win him the game.
Yeah.
He's going to get an attacker through past the Rhino. He's got enough cards in his yard and a green mana source, and that should do it.
Now, I asked Martin Daang earlier backstage, how's that one Become Immense
There it
for
is.
you?
There's Become Immense in
"It's
the
been
mono
good."
red deck, and that's going to do it. Martin Daang, with the fist pump, advances to the semifinals.
Awesome. Love it.
Become Immense out of mono red finishes the job.
Yeah, often you think about these mono red decks as hyper efficient, streamlined, 4 copies of everything, want to do the same thing every time. 1 copy of Become Immense, he said it's been great for him all weekend. It's won him a lot of games.
6 damage it represented right there. 6 damage, and that is going to do it for our second quarterfinal match. Marco Cammilluzzi, congratulations on a great run here. He's going to have to settle for quarterfinal finish, as we have now populated 2 of our 4 seats in the semis. We're going to be bringing you, of course, coverage of the next 2 quarterfinal matches here as they get ready. To set that up, though, we've got the guys at the news desk. Let's send it over to Rich Hagan.
Thanks very much to Marshall and Ian. Luis, it seems like only moments since we were last here. In fact, we just haven't moved. There wasn't an opportunity. Wow, that was brutal.
Yeah, I started walking away, and then I saw game 1. I'm like, yeah, I just walking in reverse back. Like.
And here we are. All right, so what about our Dragon Tracker on the right of screen? Do we get any? I don't think we do. No, we stay at 87.
Fodder doesn't count? If Ugin counts, how does Fodder not?
Well, Ugin's a dragon. Okay, excuse us just one moment. Ugin, would he or would he not eat dragon fodder?
That's true. He would
Thank
definitely
you.
eat dragon.
Thank
He
you.
probably has this tournament.
Right, exactly. So, on we go. That's important matters taken care of. Let's take a look at the bracket now for you with 2 of our quarterfinals done. We've already seen Adrian Sullivan through. That was our first quarterfinal, 2-1 over Thomas Hendricks of the Netherlands. That means blue-black control is into the semi-finals. So then Martin Daang against Marco Cammilluzzi. Sorry, Italy, blink or you missed it. It was Martin Daang by 2-0 with red aggro. He really did did become immense. And we will see red aggro against blue-black control in our semi-finals this afternoon. But now our attention turns to the top half of the bracket, and we're going to begin that top half with Andre Straski, the #1 seed, up against Andrew Olschwager of the United States. So let's take a look at Andre Straski then from the Czech Republic. He is just 19 years old. A silver pro, well no, he's going to be platinum now. 38 lifetime pro points, all in the last 12 months or so. $16,000, $17,000 and climbing, because at least 10,000 playing here today. Remember, the finalists compete for 40,000 US dollars to the winner. This is his second Pro Tour top 8. He was 6th at Pro Tour Cannes of Tarkir, and he's one of a handful of players, really. Not many people achieve this double. Over 60% win percentage at both the Grand Prix and the Pro Tour level. From Team Cabin Crew, let's take a look at his deck. And he is playing a green devotion strategy. So, Luis, let's walk through what is going on in this deck.
Much like Hendrick's deck, this is a green devotion deck. It's trying to accumulate massive amounts of mana using Nykthos and mana elves like Elvish Mystic and Rattleclaw to accelerate out large things like Whisperwood Elemental and Dragon Lord Atarka. The difference here is that with a couple Boon Satyrs, a couple Surak the Hunt Callers, and 4 CD Unwrittens, there's some different card choices. Straski's a little bit more aggressive. Boon Satyr and Surak both apply the beatdowns, and CD Unwritten is very explosive.
Right, so Andre Straski came in and did a deck tech with us at the video during the weekend, and there was an element of combo to the deck. So what are we talking about there? If we see it on screen, what is this combo that they're talking about?
One of the combos I imagine they're referring to is you cast CD Unwritten with Ferocious, you look at your 8, and you put in Surak the Hunt Caller, Dragon Lord Atarka, kill all their creatures, you can give Dragon Lord Atarka haste, and you fly over for 8.
Yep. So there's a lot of very explosive stuff going on. Roughly, what's the time scale for that? Is this a deck where it's very much about early setup and then round about 4 and 5? Is that like the meat of the game for Straski?
Yeah, Straski's going to be looking to have his biggest plays on turns 3 through 5. Ideally with Elvish Mystic in order to enable that, but because without that it's going to be more like 4 through 6. But if he can start with Elvish Mystic or Rattleclaw Mystic, you can end up playing a big thing on turn 3, a big thing on turn 4, and ideally a big thing on turn 5.
It sounds like turns 3 through 5 and turns 4 through 6 aren't really that different, but they really are, aren't they?
They are. In this matchup, he's playing against blue-black control. It's not quite as different as if it were, say, playing against red or Abzan, but because blue-black has cards like Crux of Fate, which destroy everything regardless of whether it comes out on turn 3 or 4, but still, that extra turn is really, really big.
Okay, well, Andre Straski is from the Czech Republic. He's part of Team Cabin Crew, and they've been quietly putting up some very, very impressive numbers. Waiting for us over on the far side of the studio is Marshall Sutcliffe with a Pro Tour champion from Return to Ravnica. Has he brought his Easter eggs with him? It's Stanislav Sivka.
Thanks, Rich. Stan, you test and actually live with Andre Straski as well, so you're quite close with him?
Yeah, we live in the same house with Ivan Floch as well and Lukas Blohon, so we all spend time together playing Magic and hanging out and trying to improve, so yeah, that's how we do.
Now, you know, I was chatting with you a little while ago about Andre. He's only 19 years old, but you're really impressed with how well he's composed himself after so much success so early in his career.
Yeah, like if you look back 2 years ago, he was like a random young guy or whatever, and in the last year, he's trying so hard, he's improving, he's taking his lessons. Like, every time he drafts with Martin Juza, he's like asking, what did I do wrong? When he's playing with Ivan Floch, he's always asking, and I think in the last year, he went a really long path, and now he's a very good player, and he has a lot of potential, even improving. So I think he could be easily the next superstar of MTG.
Oh, wow. And you know, you also said that one thing that stood out to you was that he was humble. It's easy when you're young. I remember when I was 19, if I had as much success as he had, it can go to your head. You think, hey, I'm the best player in this game. And you said he's not like that at all.
Yeah, he's not like that at all. Like if someone like top 8 the PT, he's like, oh, I'm so good. I don't have nothing to learn or whatever. And it's not his case. And it even like encouraged him to work harder because he see, oh, I did this small mistake or whatever. So yeah, I think he has a very good attitude, and it's his greatest gift.
Now, talk to us a little bit about testing for the matchup. After Andre knew that he was going to be in the top 8,
you and Flock actually took over testing for him, or what happened there?
Yeah, because, you know, this tournament is very difficult, you know, and if you have an extra day, it's so hard to do. So you use your teammates to playtest your matchup, to tell you how do I sideboard, what's my opponent will bring in, and what's important in this matchup. So me and Ivan helped him a little bit. So.
Which deck did you test in the matchup?
I've played the Devotion deck. I obviously played the control deck because
I like
he's
that.
so good in control
That makes
deck.
sense. And did you guys feel pretty comfortable after the testing with the matchup for Andre?
Well, the matchup is very close. Like, anyone can win, and it's good. Like, it's like 50-50 or maybe 55 for Andre or whatever. But yeah, because the dragons are very effective against some decks, while against the green Devotion deck, it has so many monsters. So often one dragon is not enough. So it's slightly better for Andre than if he would be playing a regular blue-black deck, because the mass removal is so effective, while the dragons are sometimes good, but sometimes they are not enough. So
yeah. So when you guys are watching as a team, everybody's pulling for Andre, right? It's going to be a huge team effort behind him from Team Well Played.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so that's awesome, and hopefully you can take home a trophy here for your team. You said you think he might be the next superstar Pro Tour winner.
Yeah, I hope so. It would be so nice. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, Stan. Let's send it back to the news desk.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah.
Thanks very much to Marshall and Sansa for their Pro Tour champion.
It's always great to be a champion, Luis. It never goes away, does it? Do you, when you're here with us on, right? When you're here with us on a Sunday morning, do you have a sort of sense memory of 2008? And is that something that is always with you on Pro Tour Sundays, of your Pro Tour Sunday there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I said this morning that Pro Tour Sunday is awesome, even if you do poorly in the Pro Tour. It's just, how can you not get excited? Watching people play under the cameras, watching, you know, this whole business going on, and it's a lot further along than it was in 2008 in terms of the coverage, and watching all of it is really, really exciting. Even if I'm involved on this side, you know, I get to be involved in it, and I really like that.
You certainly do. Well, someone who is involved on that side of the camera is Andrew Olschwager of the United States. Let's take a look at his profile. He has the top 8 from Grand Prix Denver in 2012, went 5-1 in draft. You see a couple of draws in standard. He took both of those intentionally in the last couple of rounds, and by 6/100th of 1%, he made it in over Carl Bogomez in 9th. Is that the moment that sees Olschwager ultimately becoming a Pro Tour champion? 16 lifetime pro points at the age of 28, played at Return to Ravnica and Theros Pro Tours. Let's take a look at his deck list, and we're going to see that he is playing, again, blue-black control. That is very much one of the themes of today, Luis. Walk us through Andrew Olschwager's deck.
Technically, this is an Esper deck because it plays a lone white card, which is a Dragonlord Ojutai. And you can see it off of Haven of the Spirit Dragon and some white temples. And I have a lot of familiarity with this deck because this deck is very, very close to what a lot of the guys on Team Channel Fireball played. We had, you know, Paulo Vitor Damarosa and Josh Daughter-Layton both top 16 with what is essentially this deck. The lists are very close. And the main engine in this deck, so it is a blue-black control deck. It's got, you know, removal and counter spells like we expect. The 4 copies of Silumgar's Scorn and the 3 copies of Foul Tongue Invocation. These are both spells that do a lot more if you have a dragon in your hand or in play. Well, in this deck, mostly in hand, but that's why you see the 6 dragons, and sorry for Ugin, the dragon counter doesn't count for these spells, but it's got 2 Dragonlord Ojutai, 2 Dragonlord Silumgar, and 2 Icefall Regent, as well as 2 Silumgar the Drifting Death. So this is actually the full 8 dragons. It means that Silumgar's Scorn is a 2-mana counterspell. It's actually the card counterspell, which we haven't seen in Standard in many years.
Right, because I was going to ask you specifically about Silumgar's Scorn. To what extent is it pure counterspell?
Well, the beauty of the card is in the first, you know, on turns 2 through 5 or so, you don't even need a dragon. Your opponent's often going to be tapping out.
Right.
After that, there's a good chance that you have a dragon. You've got 4 anticipates, you've got dig through times. You're able to find the dragon to make it the full-on counterspell.
I'm interested in the card Dragonlord's Prerogative. I think we said that pretty correctly, all the R's in the right place. A card that one-ofs are very hard to explain to newer players. We've got 1 copy here. If it's good, Why isn't there more of it? And if it isn't, why are they playing it?
Well, there's actually 3 copies in the sense that there's the 2 dig through times, the 1 Dragon Lord's Prerogative, and they both fill very similar roles. So often when you look at 1-ofs into 2-ofs, they're not really 1-ofs and 2-ofs. It's really a 4-of that you split between the 2 different versions. And here, that's what we're saying, because they're the heavy hitting card draw that you don't want, 3 in your opening hand, but you do want to draw a couple during the course of the game.
Now, once we get into the matchup itself, Andre Straski has the choice of play or draw, brackets, play.
Choice.
Right. And Olschwager will be on the draw. So, it's devotion against blue-black control. A sense of a winner?
I like the blue-black side here. Even with aggressive cards like Boonsader and Surak, I still think that the blue-black deck is well poised to take control of the game and then just play a 3/7 dragon to stop attacks and then to, wipe things up with Crux of Fate and other ways to draw cards.
So if Straski fans are thinking, how is my guy going to win this? Does he have to try and be explosive? Is he trying to undercut blue-black control in some way?
For sure. The blue-black deck has the game going long. So Straski, if he's on the play and leads with an Elvish Mystic, then he's in pretty good shape. But
okay. Top prediction. This one will take a little longer than the last one. You may even be able to stand up. It's time for quarterfinal 3 here at Pro Tour DTK.